All right, guys, so this is our review, assessment, thoughts of the new Tethrd Lockdown Saddle. And first, for starters, for all the people that like to comment, we have no affiliation with Tethrd. Make hunting clothes. It's not hard to modify some packs with your fabric and tweaks. It's not hard to do. If you know how to make hunting clothes, you know how to modify a pack. You know how to modify some saddle gear. But anyways, so yes, no affiliation with Tethrd. This is our style, our thing. But yep, let's get into this thing. Saddle itself is, at first glance or first sight, seems very similar. It just seems like a big Phantom, which is what I've been hunting in for the last 2 to 3 years in. And it seems pretty the same. There's some little features here and there, but I've only been in this now 3, 4, 5 times now. We are 25 feet up in our saddle, and the more I use it, I don't even want to call it the lockdown saddle. I want to call it the fluid saddle, because it just moves with you better than anything the Phantom's ever had. It's just got little things that are just so minor, yet so impactful for comfort, functions, features, and mobility. A prime example, I lost a buck 2 years ago because I was stuck in this movement. And those packs, I don't know what they're called, the hiss hauler, cis hauler, whatever those things that the Phantom standard packs are inside, they bulge out like chalk bags. And I get the functionality, I get where they were going with that, but this, while expanding room and wrapping it around you, makes it much more slender. I can move it. So this movement is what busted me when I snagged up on the tree in those pouches. I can now do 360s up here in this thing. And so just that functionality alone is huge for me. Second, the pouches are so much bigger. I can now store my knee pads, all my ropes in here. And the thing that I love the most is the structure of these pouches. I don't need to go one-handed all day. I hate when I have to pull the zipper and pull it to get it go down. The structure of these pouches are phenomenal. The lockdown expansion, the pleat in the back, and how it comes back and forth, adds a lot of comfort. And the big thing is I want to drop it, and then I'm a big sitter. So I sit all the time in the saddle. This is my standard spot. I might prop my leg up, but yeah. And so now I have just a bigger seat, and it's a lot more comfortable. I could do 8-10 hour sits, all day sits in my saddle. Done it many times. But it's not the most comfortable after a while. You just kind of get numb and your ankles get sore, and you can do it, but it's not great. And that's when you start getting fidgety. That's when you start moving more, just to kind of find your comfort zone at that moment. You want to minimize those, and having just those little comfort features allows you to move a lot less and to be much more just kind of centered in, locked in. I guess maybe that's the premise of the lockdown, but locked into your comfort zone, and you don't move as much. And for me, that's a big deal. They have thought through most things, I think. The loops on the back to adjust the pleat, phenomenal, and it's solid. So I can really pull on it, and I just want to rest my hands in it most of the time. I've already added my clipsies. I think that's what they're
carabiners. Or are those not carabiners? Or?
Well, these are the hero clips, but they have little loops. But this is where I clip on. They have the holders for, which we modded up in our old saddle to do. We can now clip on everything we need right here. This is pretty cool. What I like about this one is I always have a struggle with this, the tail of my bridge. And so I run that through, and that's what keeps it out of the way when I'm walking in. I tighten this all down, and this is what keeps it out of the way. Before, I was able to loop it around my pouch pocket holder, cis hauler, hiss hauler, whatever you want to call it. it flowed around it and kind of tucked in between that on the backside, and that was good. But now that this is streamlined, I can't flow that thing around. It's not going to hang up on it, and I can't do that anymore. So I've been using this carabiner clip, Hero clip, to kind of just keep it out of my way. Second, I was able to keep all my ropes away. I store my strap, loop, hang your shit, hiss strap on the exterior. I also hang my big bow Hero clip. That's also on the exterior. And so I just have everything I need in a pocket that's designated, that's built into the saddle. Like if you can see our videos and see what I've done in the past. But like I was a big pocket guy, pouch guy, like everything needs to have a home. And so I can walk through mentally exactly how I'm gonna walk through my steps. So like Hero clips go here, my hiss strap goes here, bino harness here, I got my rangefinder up here. Like it's just everything, my process, how I pack up and how I unbreak down is the same process, just reversed. I'm not big for like, just like, oh, I can put some here. Like I need to know it's there and have it down to memorization just for the comfort and maybe a little OCD for me. Some other features that are different on this. So I'm digging the suspenders. I didn't think I would be a suspender guy for the saddle because I've always been a high-rise saddle sitter. And so like getting back into it, but like the lockdown saddle and my high-rise functionality, how I ran the saddle before, I rode it up high and I would pull it down when I sat in. And so like it would go from just a straight up belt with my linemans to keep me tethered to the tree, climbing up. But then once I got up and set up my tether to my bridge, I would pull it down like I do the lockdown and sit in it. And that's what gave me my functionality to get the tightness feature from the tree to my bridge, ultimately to my seat, to get me situated, seated, I guess is the right word. But once I'm seated, I'm not falling out of the tree. Like my weight is in tether and everything, my motion, my force, triangulation, Pythagorean theorem, I don't know what you call it. It's all flows together. So like if I sit, I'm just going straight into the tree. And so like this has been a natural extension from my old setup to this setup. The big difference is now I don't have to high rise because my tummy, my little tummy right here would push my saddle down. Now I have a pretty solid suspender system that keeps it up, but also loosen up, that I can move around and adjust things, but it just keeps it comfortably in place. Something I can appreciate and I'll comment on, but I know people have asked me about this. I don't wear my leg straps based on the way I use my saddle and the way my weight is placed. I don't use this as a vertical. Maybe if I rappelled, but again, if I rappelled, I'd be rappelling against something. This is not like a fall strap, or at least for me at least, but I like these clips.
A lot better than what was on there.
Yeah, the folks were frustrating. Like, oh my gosh, they'd come undone or done, and like it's just like, I remember one time I got snagged up on a tree because it was dangling, and it's just frustrating, especially when you're trying to get into it pre-stand. Little functionality. Tethr's definitely upped their game. Like they got really monogrammed, branded pullers. Like these are things that may not care to most people, but to us who make gear, like that's awesome, man. Like that takes a lot of time, energy, the planning to get the molds and all that. Like that's just things that take years to work on, and you can wing it. And they chose not to, which is awesome to see. And yeah, the color scheme is phenomenal.
Especially with Thlete on there too.
Yeah, especially with this early harvest pattern. Like I think this is the most awesome, badass looking saddle ever. It just looks phenomenal. I like to have this extra, let's see if I can turn around right here, this extra little hook back here. I can run my platform back there if I want to, and it stays out of my way. I generally don't do that. I've been riding up with my platform in my pack, with my bow in the place of where my sticks have been. But I like to get all the way up into the tree with all my gear after Illinois and losing a buck because like I was displacing gear all over the place. Like, let's all have it tucked in together, no displacement. One thing that I do like about this saddle and our last one, that's not in every Phantom, it's in the newer ones, is this moves. This belt slides through the saddle. And so you can adjust where this buckle sits. So like if I want to sit on the side, I can slide the thing and it doesn't move my whole saddle. If I want to move it to the other side, I can do that. That's little things like that that like just make it the difference maker for me. I want a saddle that's been tested, tried and true by the experts. And when you've been doing it for much longer and building it, like I know for a fact, and like when we design clothes, like the slightest tweak to an elbow articulation or the angle makes the world of a difference. But you only know that after you've made it, constructed it, worn it for thousands and thousands and thousands of times, and tested it with hundreds of other people. Like, what's the right angle? Like the slope angle on the shoulder of a vest. Like these are things that we think through that it's awesome to see Tethrd and other brands doing. But yeah, like it's a pretty stout saddle. And it's bigger than my Phantom, which I have a bigger butt now. And it's just more comfortable. It moves with me. I can walk through the woods and I'm not snagging on things. And yeah.
I think the question is this going to replace your saddle for the upcoming season?
Yeah, I know.
It won't? It will?
Yeah.
It will?
Only because, one, I put these clipsies on and I don't think these clipsies are coming out and I don't know if I want to buy another pair of clipsies. But it's more comfortable. It's bigger. And I probably, when I bought my original Phantom, I don't think they even had the XL at the time. Like it was an OG Phantom. And my butt at the time was smaller and more aerodynamic. And mine is definitely not anymore. And I'd probably do well with an XL. This is like an XL with an even bigger pleat. It allows me to get more volume back there and comfort. And I think it'll help more in the later season with more layers of clothing. You just have more surface area wrapped up to be tucked away versus having like, I mean, when you're fully blown layered out, that Phantom is basically like a weightlifting belt. Like it's not much substance for me, at least back there to sit in. And so like I would get stress points like right here on my hip where this line, the bottom line of the saddle comes up. I'd get stress points right there. I would have to fidget a lot with my bridge to get the right amount of rope this way, because like if I have it too tight, it's gonna pinch this together and I get sore hips on my hip bones right there. If it's too loose out, I don't have the support, and what ends up happening is my saddle rides up higher, and when it rides up higher, it causes my more, I don't know what it is, like it rubs on my hip bone, like right there. And so this just gives me the flexibility to adjust the saddle exactly how I want for longer sits. So yeah, that's the setup for us. That's the lockdown. I think the ultimate conclusion, like if you're pushing more, from our point of view, if you're pushing more days in the hunting season than you can count on one hand or two hands, I'd probably recommend upgrading. I say that slowly, maybe like 10 to 14 days, but like that's a lot of time, hours in the stand. And I've been in the saddle all day, and this is just has that extra functionality, comfort that I desire. That's a wrap, man. Love this saddle, something new, something different. Giving you guys our thoughts and perspective on it and a real in-depth analysis, man. If you have any questions, give us a shout. Or go out, reach out to Tethrd, talk to them. They're good guys. But yeah, that's Tethrd Lockdown Saddle.